Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Inside the American Dynasty League. With me, as always, is Math Boy, Alan Henley, and the Commish, Clyde Randall Waters. Let's get right to it. Let's get right into it, man.
Let's do it.
Let's get right into it, man.
Send it.
We're taking a look at last week's Mama Matchup of the Week.
Mama Matchup of the Week.
All right, last week's matchup of the week was the Fast and the Furious versus the Harrison Bullfrogs. Math Boy, give us the math.
Well, Harrison Bullfrogs again started an injured player. This one, oh wait, this is the wrong team. No, I'm just kidding. But they did start an injured player, and Zach Ertz, late scratch.
Super late scratch. You can't blame the Bullfrogs on that.
Sorry, I had the team mixed up. Anyway, went for that magic 0, and then this week, though with 100% efficiency, it didn't pan out. It's just too much behind the Fast and Furious' team, which has really taken off fast and furiously. I mean, yeah, you like that. Carson Wentz
I liked it.
Is a stud. Alvin Kamara doing crazy things. He's a stud. He's got Melvin Gordon on the bench, I believe. He's got Nelson Aguilar, who's been pretty good this year. Didn't have a great week this week. It's just this team is ready to go, and I think really push for the playoffs.
Definitely. I think this team is finding their stride, and they're hitting the ground going full force towards that post-season push. Like you said before, Fast and Furious, dominating performance led by Carson Wentz, over 30 points. Alvin Kamara, over 30 points. He put up the most points for Week 9 and a stout 92% efficiency rating. One thing I do want to note here, though, is the Harrison Bullfrogs, they put up 100% efficiency rating this week. They put out the best team they possibly could have put out. And sadly, that still fell pretty short of a victory in this matchup. Fast and Furious, super surprised how this season has kind of flip-flopped. Looked really shaky going in the first few weeks of the season. A couple tweaks, figuring out the system, getting the team gelled together. And
then what? They hit the NOS?
Yeah.
Victory!
Like I missed it. You guys did it. You said, let's do it again. Ready?
Victory!
I like to drive mine backwards and make my engine explode to push me to victory. Yeah, that's how I like to win.
Anyways, I just drive a Pinto and see where I'm at.
I think a thing to note here, too, Harrison Bullfrogs had either a lot of injury or a lot of buys. With their entire bench having zeros except for Marcus Mariota. So I don't know if it's something to worry about for them too much. They've been a pretty good team all year, and I think they still have a really good team to make it to the playoffs and give it a shot.
Yeah. All right.
Let's take a look at some other notable matchups this week. Let's take a look at the Black Stags versus the Subliminal Criminals.
Do we have to?
Ooh, yes,
Man.
we do. Yes, we do.
Now, this one, we're going to go into some of the awards from this one later. But let's just real quick, Math Boy, give me some numbers.
I'll put it in one spot. You start a guy who gets you negative 1.9, and you're going to lose. I mean, he somehow, fortunately, didn't have more because he had 2 fumbles in the game. Not 1 fumble. No, he didn't just have 1. He got me 2 fumbles this week. Jonathan Stewart, I hate you, I think. I'm done with you. I can't stand... You get like 30 carries a game and you get like 10 yards. Figure it out. And on top of that, I have a suspended thug on my team in Mike Evans. Went crazy this week. Protecting his guy, Jameis Winston, I guess. I don't know.
At least before he went out, he...
Got me positive points?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm thankful for that. So, I'm thankful. But... Man, it's rough knowing that, if I start my optimal lineup, if I start somebody who isn't Jonathan Stewart, I win this game.
Oh, I did win. Another matchup I want us to take a look at was the Farty McFartfaces versus the Hairy Berries. Farty McFartface here had a big win. This was a statement win here, as this division still isn't locked up yet. and playoff spots are still wide open. And so Freddie McFarface is putting down a statement win over the Harry Berries, 140-103, and just everything's just still up in the air in a mix here. We don't have a clear-cut leader right now in this league. A lot of ties and stuff going on in terms of records. And
there's a 3-way tie for the top of the red division, and a 2-way tie for the top of the blue division. And I think almost nobody yet is eliminated from the playoffs. Maybe a team, maybe two. That's it. I mean, This is insane. It's anybody's game. The two top on any division could end up on the bottom by the end of the season.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. The NFL could not script football better than the American Dynasty League.
They try.
Which they do, by the way.
They try.
The NFL is controlled by the Illuminati, and it is scripted.
I mean, they made AJ Green get in a fight.
And didn't get him in trouble for it.
Just to try to boost some ratings. You think the NFL goes years with only minor incidents here and there, almost no one ever fighting, and then all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 fights in 1 week? Coincidentally, after one of their lowest rated weeks ever? Yeah. You don't think it's scripted? You don't think they're trying to juice the ratings? I'm just saying. Next up, let's take a look at our awards of the week. Starting off with the Milk Dud of the Week, brought to you by Hershey Milk Duds, the movie theater candy. This one goes out to the player that was just a dud, and that is who? Kamish.
The dud of Week 9 is Willie Sneed, putting up -2 points, started by the Winterfell Direwolves.
You thought your negative 1.9 was bad.
Oh, I know.
I took it to a whole nother level.
Oh, good job. Thank you for taking that award from me.
Yeah, Willie Sneed got the ball once and he fumbled it.
What a jerk.
That's bad. I mean, at least my guy got
How
the ball
bad?
multiple times.
Real bad. Next up, we got the Ram Pickup of the Week, brought to you by Ram Trucks. They're trucks. They got truck beds. They got cabs. They got tires. They got engines. And the award is going out to who? Math Boy.
Jared Goff, owned by me, the Subliminal Criminals, getting me 36.44 points this week and still not being enough to get a win this week. I'm a little bitter, but I'm super pumped to have him on my team. I lost to Sean Watson to that ACL injury, and in comes Jared Goff. And I didn't expect that many points from him, but heck, let's keep it going, Jared.
All right, next up we got the Whoopin' of the Week, brought to you by Mike's Bodega, home of the best Pop-Tarts and the best Cheez-Its available at Projitech. This week it is going out to what we call a discount double up.
Discount double up!
Double up!
I didn't know we had one. Double up!
The Red Squirrels scored more than double the Mama's Boys points.
Wow.
Math Boy, give us the numbers. Give us the numbers.
All right, so the Red Squirrels scored 135.76 points here, and the Mama's Boys scored 62.4 points, and that is a 73.36 margin of victory, which, if I do my math correctly, if you double 62, it is not quite as much as 73, which means this is, in fact, a discount double up.
Boom. That's his Taylor math for you. Three River School District, baby. Next up, we got the Dollar Shave Club of the Week. Another one. As this makes our 4th of the year?
It does, I believe.
Oh, man.
Don't we have an over-under on this somewhere
It's
out
on
there?
5. Over 5. So
I took the over.
I pushed.
I think I took the over too.
So we're getting close. Whew. This one is going out to who? Kamish. Since you're part owner.
Well,
And the victor.
This one goes out to the Black Stags, edging out a victory over the Subliminal Criminals. Again, this matchup was won by 0.98 points. That's less than a point. The score was 129.92 to 128.94. Here's what's really interesting about this. This is the second close shave between these two teams this season. Back in week 2, the score was Black Stags 100.28, Subliminal Criminals 100.84. So this week, just not as close as it was in week 2. But I don't know how it could have been any closer.
You want to know?
I want to point.
It flips over. We split our head-to-head this year.
So, Math Boy,
Yeah.
real quick, let's just say we combined the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It would still be a Dollar Shave Club of the Week. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Oh, yes,
That's
it
correct.
would. That is...
That is correct.
It'd be like, what, 0.13 points or something around there?
Yeah.
I mean,
Man.
1.3 points of total margin of victory combined. I mean, that's insane. And I think it hurts even more that I lost it.
All right, let's stop whining about you losing.
The same
Next
way.
up, we got the Resurrected Team of the Week, brought to you by Lazarus Department Stores. And this one is going out to the Mud Dogs,
Boom.
ending their 2-game losing streak with a 128.04 point showing and winning this week. Congratulations, Mud Dogs. Way to get off the losing road and on to Winter Highway. Next up, we got the Poopery Poo-Poo Team of the Week.
Highway.
And this one is going out to the team that just stunk so bad that they were just horrible. And that is who? Kamish.
Yet again, it is the Mama's Boys. Only having a 62.4 showing this week. Another week where they had, let's count them up here. Let's count them up. 1 second here. They had 1. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players in their starting lineup who either were injured or on bye this week. There was clearly no effort made to start a competitive team this week, especially considering they let the backup quarterback on their bench with 30 points. They let the backup wide receiver on their bench with 11 points. They let the backup tight end on their bench with 10 points. A kicker out there with 13 points. If they would have started their optimal lineup, just switched who they had on bye for who was on their bench, they would have had a score of 127 points.
And would have beat many people in this league.
So
the question is, and this happened in our other league, the Big Dynasty League, our sister league or brother league, whatever you want to call it, the first year. Do we think it's possible this guy is lost in Alaska and unable to get to a computer? Or do we simply think he doesn't care?
Was he kidnapped?
He could have been kidnapped.
Has anyone been in contact with this man?
Is
I
Chad? Chad's his name?
think it's
Chad?
yep.
Chad, if you're out there, man, we want you to be alive. We will get together upwards of $25 for a ransom if you've been kidnapped. We just need you to set your lineup, man.
Don't hold back on the ransom money.
However, if he is kidnapped, dead, or otherwise incapacitated where he cannot play fantasy football anymore, we will be replacing him as an owner of a team in the ADL at the end of the season. We got a waiting list. So, there you go. Next up, we got the proactive breakout player of the week is going to who? Math Boy.
As stated, this one's going out to Alvin Kamara.
Started by
Fast and Furious, getting him 31.2 points as a backup running back, right? I mean,
I don't know if I'd say a backup, but he's a part of a dual head threat.
Yeah, and just incredible.
I'll tell you who wasn't running the ball. Willie Snead.
Willie Snead was not. He is also a wide receiver.
Yeah, but he also wasn't catching it or running it.
Fair enough. He did nothing except he
So,
fumbled the ball.
but just to give you a little hint here, Alvin Kamara this week had about 150 all-purpose yards, had 6 receptions, scored a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. I mean, he just did it all. That's why Willie Snead wasn't needed.
He should have threw for a touchdown. Would have sounded really cool.
That would have been awesome.
All right, next up, let's take a look here on our agenda here. Do we have any quick hits this week? Any fantasy quick hits?
So, we've already kind of hinted to this, but I went out and I have a system here. It's called the Playoff Computer Online.
Whoa,
It helps you
that's a good name.
track and calculate
That's a really
real
If it's a
real playoff
It's
scenarios.
online.
If it's not
Here's what's crazy,
I
everyone.
agree.
We are well over halfway through this season, and there is not a clear team destined for the playoffs yet in this league. In our brother league, the BDL, we already have teams that are guaranteed clinches. We already have teams that have very, very high odds of getting a wild card spot. And we have teams that are completely eliminated from contention. However, in this league, in the ADL, it's all open game. The closest team we have to clinching a playoff spot, which would basically mean winning their division, is the Mud Dogs. After that, it's split. And we're talking split by hairs here. Anyone's game. Teams with capabilities of getting a wild card spot still open to almost everyone in this league. There is not a team in this league that has a 0% chance of making the playoffs. That is insane. So what it means is don't give up yet. Your team could be the team that flip-flops and pushes away into the playoffs.
That's right. And also, and I apologize, Commissioner, I'm going to throw this one at you. I didn't plan it, but I have a feeling it's coming up soon. And for the new league, I want to make sure we give them a little bit of heads up. The trade deadline's coming up fairly soon, within the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
And Commish, maybe you can give us the for sure date here in a minute. But so if you need to make any last minute adjustments, trade some of your college picks for a push. Like myself, I'm looking for a quarterback. So if you want to make a trade for a quarterback, maybe you need something. Maybe you got an extra quarterback and want some picks or something. Let's talk. Let's figure that out. Get your trades going if you need to make some trade pushes for the playoffs.
I'm in the running back market. Yeah, we all need things.
So, Commissioner, I apologize for I just threw that at you. I'm not looking for a for sure date, but if you have it,
Give me a second here.
I think great. Things you could trade would be a player for another player, multiple players for a player, multiple players for multiple players, blind bidding dollars for a player and blind bidding dollars for a player, a pick for a player, a pick and a player for a player, a pick and a player for a player and a player, a pick, a player, and blind bidding dollars for a player or multiple players. Yeah,
Keep going.
And I think that's about all there is.
Could I do a player, another player, a pick, and blind bidding dollars for a player, and a pick?
Yes, you could. Now, depending on how large your roster is, if you're one who filled it up completely, you may have to drop someone else at that point.
Right, okay.
But and depending on salaries, don't forget when you do your trades, you still have to stay under that $200 salary cap. So if you're picking up, like if you're trading for someone who's 40 and you're only trading away someone who's 7 and you don't have all the space, you're in trouble. You'll have to drop someone else. So remember that as well. But yeah, so that is a scenario where you could do that.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
Well, just so you know, that all needs to happen. All that they discussed needs to happen by 12 noon on November 22nd. It's a Wednesday. I believe it's the day before Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
All trades have to be in by that time.
I love things.
And this is
12 noon.
a hard time. I mean, don't go trying to pull no Cleveland Brown stuff where you're appealing at 12:04 for a trade to go through. 12 noon. That's
12 noon.
Cuts off.
12
All right.
noon. And then that's getting right before we go into week 13, last week of the regular season, and before the playoff push. So you need to start looking at what the playoffs could be for you now. Start figuring out those trades. Also remember, you can trade anyone on your team. You can trade blind bidding dollars, and you can also trade
What else?
your future fantasy draft picks.
Yes, like I said previously.
I want to reiterate it.
Don't forget that week 13 is our final doubleheader week. So a lot can change the last week of the season. But those are our fantasy quick hits. You got one last thing to say, Math Boy?
So, Clyde, say I am trading with Mike here, and we agree on this trade, and at 11:59, right before that deadline, we both hit accept on the website. However, the rest of the league does not yet know that we made a trade. Does that still count?
Yes. The trade has to be accepted, which means it has to be entered into our league site so that it is sent to the team you are trading with, and the other owner must click, I accept this trade.
By noon.
The whole approval and actually the commission of that stuff where I go through, approve it, and then the actual transaction occurs, that all can happen afterwards. But the trade must be entered into the system and accepted by the partnering franchise by 12 noon.
All right. With all of that, thank you. Those were our fantasy quick hits. Next, let's take a look at this week's matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week.
This week's matchup of the week is the Subliminal Criminals versus Big Ben's Love Child. I'm Ben's Love Child. Math Boy, break it down for me.
Well, after following that lovely introduction of the Big Ben's Love Child, sure. Big Ben's Love Child looks strong, and Subliminal Criminals coming off that loss, little lackluster. Still looking for a running back to do anything. Jared Goff, does he put up 30 points again? Stephon Diggs is back, was super helpful. But I don't know. I think it's a lot to do to take over Carlos Hyde, LaShawn McCoy, and Jerick McKinnon. Just those guys at running back this year have been unbelievable. When you pair them with Doug Baldwin and Larry Fitz, I mean, this Big Ben's Love Child team is strong and scary.
Yeah. So let's see here. In this matchup, it's a repeat of the matchup of Week 7 here, where Big Ben's Love Child lost by 36 points. However, I believe that Jack is looking for revenge this week. So much so, he came out and said, we have this unquote here, we have to suck it up. All right, Jack, you do. You do need to suck it up. You need to suck it up so you can come out and win this matchup here. Let's see here, you're going to have Doug Baldwin is expected to be one of your top projected people next week. Phillip Rivers, he's coming back off a bye. Hopefully he's getting over stuff. But then at the same time here, you have the Subliminal Criminals who are trying to clinch a division here. Trying to stay on top of it. And you said, we can't let the crowd faze them. What did that mean?
Well, I'm thinking it maybe has to do with another comment that I said here, and when I was asked, I said turnovers will be key. I think that has something to do with the crowd, turnovers, can't understand what's going on. Sometimes I just spew words when somebody asks me something.
Speaking of spewing words, I got a quote from the owner of Big Ben's Love Child, Jack, who dates a Steelers fan. We have to eliminate the mental mistakes. And then I also got one more quote from you, from our reporting team here. We really have to try to take it to them.
Yeah, we do. We gotta try to win, right? I mean,
all right. Well, with all of that said, who, Math Boy, are you taking?
Well, I picked myself because I always do. Subliminal Criminals.
Commish!
I'm taking Big Ben's Love Child.
I'm taking Big Ben too. So that's not a sweep.
Oh.
Not at all, actually.
Not at all.
I'll see you guys at the top of the leaderboards of the Pick'ems. Because I'm already there.
All right, well, let's take a look into our 2-minute drill.
2-minute drill.
All right, getting started with the 2-minute drill this week, we have Schmitty Morgan Jagerman Fifth versus the Red Squirrels. Commish, who are you taking?
Well, the Red Squirrels have looked strong the last couple weeks, but I feel like the Schmitty Morgan Jagerman Jensens have been consistent the last few weeks. I'm taking Team Schmitty.
Math Boy.
Schmitty Werber Jagerman Jensens.
I'm taking the Squirrels because I don't like saying the other name. Next, we got the Fast and the Furious versus the Mud Dogs. Math Boy.
Fast and Furious.
Commish.
The Mud Dogs are turning it around, finishing strong, taking the Dogs.
I'm taking the Fast and the
I don't know
Furious.
if he gets his 2-minute draw idea.
No, he's fine. We're still got a minute and 15 left. If you wouldn't interrupt me, we'd get through it. Next, we got the Harrison Bullfrogs versus the Mama's Boys. Math Boy.
Bullfrogs.
Commish.
Bullfrogs.
I'm taking the Bullfrogs as well, which makes this a sweep. Next up, we got the Farty McFartfaces versus the Winterfell Direwolves. Commish, who are you taking?
Oh, surprisingly, the Farty McFartfaces.
Commish is already answered. Math Boy.
Can't believe I'm saying it. Farty McFartfaces.
I'm taking myself because I believe in myself. I believe that I'm a winner. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. And last, we got the Hairy Berries versus the Black Stags. Math Boy, who you taking?
Hairy Berries.
Commish.
You're just upset that I beat you last week.
I'm bitter.
Of course I'm taking myself, the Black Stags.
I'm taking the Black Stags, which means there were no sweeps this week.
There was one sweep.
Hey, sweep this week.
Oh, there was. You're right.
When you selected Harrison Bullfrogs.
You're right. Okay. And with 2 seconds left, we're out of the 2-minute drill. On to the Commish's question of the week. Commish.
Well, mysteriously, last week's question did not get posted.
Oh,
I
what a
think
shame.
the mystery is you forgot.
Oh, no.
You must have hit that accept button and went up into that cloud thing
You
and
mean to
disappeared.
tell me that I, as commissioner of this esteemed league, could be distracted by things like a full-time job, which I do to make my pay for my livelihood and things like that.
That's what most people do their jobs for.
You know, instead of putting the effort in to post a poll question
How-
on a fantasy football league site.
How could you let work
How dare
trump,
you accuse me of
How
that?
could you let work trump fantasy football?
So what is this week's question?
Well,
Commish?
last week the question I was going to ask was who was going to be better off after the trade that happened, J.J., Kelvin Benjamin, or Garoppolo. And well, it's still early to tell, but I think the verdict's out that J.J. looked darn good this week with the Philadelphia Eagles, getting a touchdown, having like 80 rushing yards, and just appeared like, well, he's been an Eagle all season long. We'll see what happens with Benjamin and Garoppolo, but I think it's been decided.
His touchdown run looked good. And then Clyde beat me. The commish beat me.
All right. This week's question?
Well, let's do an over-under.
Oh, I like over-unders.
Here we go.
How many trades will be submitted by the trade deadline from this point to the trade deadline? Someone give me a number here. Over under what?
3.
All right.
That's what I was thinking. I'm going to go over. I think people will come out of the woodworks and make a few trades.
I'm saying under.
I'm saying 3. I guess. Yeah.
Look for the poll. Hopefully it gets posted this week.
That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Set your lineups. Get your picks in. Set your lineups. Have fun. And if anyone knows where Chad is, if he's alive out there, let him know to set his lineup.
We don't
Set
care
his
if he's
lineup.
okay, just make him set his lineup.
All right, that's it for us, guys. Have fun out there. Stay safe. Good night.